Welcome to Living Beyond the Invisible, where we shine a light on the challenges and experiences of living with invisible disabilities. I'm your host, Heather, and in each episode, we'll explore different aspects of life with invisible disabilities, from physical health to mental wellness and everything in between. Whether you're someone living with an invisible disability or seeking to better understand what struggles those of us who are living with them go through, you're in the right place. Hey everyone, today we're tackling a phrase that everyone with an invisible condition, including myself, has heard at least once in their life. And that is, but you don't look sick. Unfortunately, this is not a casual statement. It carries a lot of weight and can absolutely complicate personal relationships. How do we deal with misconceptions like this? And how can we navigate relationships while living with an invisible disability? That, my friends, is what we will unpack in today's episode. So let's start off with that phrase, but you don't look sick. It's meant to sound like a compliment, like someone is affirming that you appear healthy. But for those of us living with invisible conditions, it oftentimes feels like a dismissal. It implies that if people can't see your illness, it must not be that bad. Or worse, that it doesn't exist at all. Of course, this can be incredibly frustrating to us, as many of us battle chronic pain, chronic fatigue, and emotional distress daily. And even though we look fine on the outside, we are not. Now, while most people wouldn't intentionally dismiss someone's suffering, the fact that invisible disabilities can't be seen makes them harder to grasp for those who don't live with them. Think of how we tend to understand illness. We associate sick with outward markers like bandages, crutches, or visible signs of pain. But for millions of people living with conditions like fibromyalgia, lupus, mental health disorders, and even cancer during certain stages of treatment, the illness is there even when it doesn't show. Think about it. When you tell someone you're struggling or that you don't feel well and they respond, but you look great or you look fine, it creates a disconnect. It makes you feel unseen, unheard, and sometimes even invalidated. That's how those of us living with invisible disabilities and chronic illnesses feel every single time we hear those remarks. It's important to recognize how deeply these misconceptions can affect the person experiencing them. When people continually question your pain or illness because they can't see it, it can lead to feelings of isolation, frustration, and emotional exhaustion. It becomes not just about managing symptoms, but also about constantly defending your reality. This dynamic often complicates personal relationships and can leave those with invisible disabilities feeling misunderstood or alienated. Imagine constantly feeling the need to explain or justify your pain. That's exhausting on a physical and emotional level. So what happens when these misconceptions leak into your relationships, whether with partners, friends, or family members? Let's discuss it. So now let's move on and take a look at romantic relationships. When you're in a partnership, trust and understanding are key to a healthy relationship. But what happens when your partner can't fully comprehend what you're going through? Invisible disabilities add a layer of complexity to any relationship. Living with an invisible illness often means having fluctuating energy levels and pain that can strike without warning. Your partner might struggle to understand why you can't follow through with plans or why some days you're more fatigued than others. It's common for partners to feel confused or even frustrated when they can't see the cause of your symptoms. They might think you're exaggerating or not trying hard enough to stay active in the relationship. This kind of misunderstanding can lead to a breakdown in communication. The person with the illness might start to feel guilty for needing more rest or canceling plans. And their partner might feel resentment because they don't understand the full picture. Both sides can end up feeling disconnected. However, there's good news. There are ways to navigate these challenges. The first one is communication is absolutely critical. It's important to be open and vulnerable with your partner about what you're experiencing, even when that conversation is uncomfortable. Tell them about your good days and your bad days and explain how unpredictable your symptoms can be. Being honest about your limitations sets up realistic expectations and builds empathy. Another key aspect is education. You're going to hear that term education many times during this episode, but it's an important word, I promise. Sharing articles, videos, or even attending medical appointments together can give your partner a better understanding of your condition. When they know what you're dealing with, it's easier for them to offer meaningful support. It also helps to create a partnership where both sides are working together to manage the challenges. Now, even Andrew and I struggled with this over the years. When we first met, the only health issue I really had was my CHD. And, I explained everything about that to him pretty early on. And honestly, he's been great from day one. He has learned so much about my heart and pushes me to make sure I'm taking care of myself. However, when I started having other health issues, it was much, much harder to explain how I felt. I mean, how do you explain that your body feels like it's on fire while being run over by a truck, while being beat with a baseball bat, while being stabbed by 1,000 daggers? It's not easy. In the beginning, he really didn't understand what I was going through. I honestly think he would get frustrated because one day I would be completely fine and able to do whatever we had planned to. Then the next day, I might not be able to move much, if at all. This obviously led to me being frustrated as well. But truthfully, I feel like I won the husband lottery because he has stuck by me and supported me through all of my health trials and tribulations. He's taken the time to learn and understand and listen to me. Even in the early days, we worked through that initial frustration. And since then, he has been my biggest champion and supporter. But I feel like this type of support from a partner is absolutely not normal in the invisible disability and chronic illness community. And truthfully, that breaks my heart. I wish we all had someone like Andrew. All right, so now I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about friendships. Friendships are equally important, but they can also become strained when living with an invisible disability. Friends might not fully understand why you can't always participate in activities or social gatherings. They might assume you're flaking out or withdrawing from the friendship. There's also an added fear for people with chronic illnesses, and that's being forgotten or left out. Many of us worry that our friends will stop inviting us out if we decline too many times. While it's true you may need to say no more often than you'd like, it doesn't mean you want to be left out entirely. One way to navigate friendships is by setting clear expectations. Let your friends know that while you may not always be able to join, you still want to be invited. Sometimes it's the thought that counts. It shows that your friends care and want to include you, even if you can't always show up. Additionally, suggesting alternate activities that are more manageable for you, like a low-energy movie night or a quiet coffee catch-up, can help you maintain those friendships without overextending yourself or without causing your pain to be worse. It's also important to have honest conversations with your close friends about your condition. Educate them on what you're going through and how you feel. They might not realize what you're dealing with if they've never experienced anything similar. By opening up, you allow your friends to understand and offer support in ways that matter most to you. For me personally, I have dealt with feeling left out so many times. I'm also very sure some of my friends have gotten very upset or frustrated with me for having to cancel or say no more often than I would like. It's not that I don't love them and want to do things. It's just that I truly can't. If I cancel on something, it's because I'm in so much pain that I can't function. Trust me, I'm stuck in this house all the time. If I have a chance to get out and be part of something, I'll do it, unless my body says otherwise, which happens way more often than not. All right, now let's talk about family dynamics. Family can be another very tricky area to navigate. Parents, siblings, and extended family members might be well-meaning but misinformed. They might encourage you to push through it or suggest that you're exaggerating your symptoms because again, you don't look sick. It's particularly hard when family members don't see your daily struggle. They might only catch glimpses of your bad days, or worse, never witness them at all. This leads to questions like, why can't you just try harder? Or, you were fine last holiday, what's changed? Here again, education and communication are your best tools. Explain how your condition works and how it fluctuates. Share any diagnosis paperwork or doctor's notes if it helps make your case. And when it comes to family gatherings or events, advocate for yourself. Let them know if you need breaks, if you can't attend certain functions, or if you'll need extra support during the event. Now, for me, it helps because I was born with a CHD. I mean, my family has been through everything with me since the day I was born. So they pretty well understand that my health is up and down a lot. For the most part, my parents and grandparents have been beyond amazing when it comes to understanding that I can't always stick to plans because of my pain and fatigue. It also helps that my mom has attended a lot of my appointments with me, especially in the last year and a half since my cancer diagnosis. When Andrew can't be with me, normally my mom is. So she sees things firsthand and she understands. My extended family, for the most part, is also pretty amazing, but I'm not the only one in my family that deals with chronic issues, so they kind of get it. My in-laws, on the other hand, well, it was rough in the beginning. Please don't get me wrong, I love my in-laws very much. Andrew's parents have been a huge blessing to us so many times over the years. I am truly not bad-mouthing them here at all. But trying to explain even my CHD to them was a bit difficult at first. Then when I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia, well, it just took some time for them to understand. But I will say, once I really educated them on everything, they have been beyond amazing and supportive. Educating the people in your life is very, very important. Even if it's difficult, you need to make it happen. I know I sound like a broken record here, but seriously, once I really had those tough conversations with my in-laws, they got it. They understood more. I mean, obviously they're not going through it, but they do see my struggles. They do acknowledge me, and I feel validated because of that. So while we talked a little bit about educating people in your life, let's talk about how we can deal with these misconceptions and misunderstandings. Here are just a few strategies that might help. Have an open dialogue. Be upfront about your condition and what you experience, even if it feels uncomfortable. Many people simply don't know what they don't see. To them, if they can't see it, it must not be real. Having that open dialogue, that open line of communication with them can help ease their frustrations as well as yours. Having those uncomfortable conversations, while it is difficult, is very important. Again, I'm going to say it, education. Share information about your disability. Point people towards resources or invite them to research it so they can understand it better. Share this podcast with them or find other podcasts that might help in explaining your condition or videos or whatever. Just educate them. That is also very, very important. This one is a big one, and that is setting boundaries. And like I said, this is a big one, and I know how unbelievably hard it can be, but you have to know your limits and communicate them to others. Don't feel guilty for saying no or for needing rest. Set your boundaries and stick to them. That is also very, very, very important. Notice the theme here. All of these are important. Another thing you can do is offer alternatives. If you can't do something because it's physically demanding, suggest alternate activities that are within your comfort zone. I know I mentioned this when we were talking about friends, but you can do this in any relationship you have, with a partner, with a family member, with a coworker. It doesn't matter who it is, you can still offer alternatives. If someone wants you to go for a hike, for instance, maybe suggest a calm, leisurely walk and a picnic in the park. Obviously, this is just an example. You can offer an alternative that fits your personal physical health needs. Self-advocate. Don't hesitate to stand up for yourself when people doubt your experience. It's exhausting, but self-advocacy is important in ensuring you're being taken seriously. If you don't stand up for yourself, people will just keep treating you as if you're lying or as if nothing is wrong with you. When you self-advocate, you're not only standing up for yourself, but in a way, you're standing up for our entire community as well. And finally, the last suggestion I have is one that I suggest all the time, and that is support groups. I suggest this in almost every episode, but it's a good suggestion, and I feel it's very important. Either you can join those support groups either in person or online, where you can connect with others who will get it. This can help reduce feelings of isolation and give you a community of understanding. If you're not sure where to start, reach out to me and I will gladly help you. I'll link all of my social media accounts and email address in the show notes so you can easily reach out to me. So as we end the episode this week, I want you to remember that living with an invisible disability often means navigating a world that doesn't see the daily battles we face. But through honest communication, self-advocacy, and education, we can work to shift the misconceptions that exist about invisible conditions. And more importantly, we can build stronger, more understanding relationships in that process. Now, before we go, I do want to give you a little heads up about the next few episodes. I have been asked to do a series of episodes on autoimmune diseases. I personally don't have most of these, but I'm going to do my best. So we are going to kick off this series next week with rheumatoid arthritis. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Living Beyond the Invisible. I hope you found the insights and stories shared today helpful and inspiring. Remember, living with an invisible disability is a journey, and together we can navigate the challenges and celebrate the triumphs. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your support helps me reach more listeners and build a stronger community. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Living Beyond the Invisible for updates and additional resources. Don't forget to check out our Patreon, which I will have linked in the show notes. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep living beyond the invisible.